Good evening, everybody. This was nearly a stream that, well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't think this stream was going to happen at all because I ran into a really strange issue just before we started here, or I started, I shouldn't say we, where the receiver, so basically for those who don't know, if you don't know how, well, I don't know, I think I've mentioned that this is a wireless mic that I'm using, so I could have gotten around it, but it would have probably taken another 10 minutes to get everything reset up. So anyway, I'm using a Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone setup, which has up until now been flawless as far as I know. But I went to actually get the stream up and running, and when I looked, because I noticed that there wasn't any audio coming, the Twitch studio was not receiving any audio. So there was audio coming out, which is the background music, but I did not see the meter for the microphone moving. And I went, oh, huh. And I thought maybe it was usually when that happens, it's just a setting, and I have to adjust the setting. But I went to look, and I noticed that the receiver, not the transmitter was fine, but the receiver was frozen. And this is, like so many things now, a piece of electronics that does not have a removable battery, which in the past, you would have been able to just pop a battery out and you can reset whatever your device is. That used to be very, very commonplace. You used to be able to just pop a battery out and, your thing would turn off, and usually that's the equivalent of turning it off and on. Now, because so many of our devices don't have removable batteries, now luckily this thing does have buttons, and I was able to very quickly find that there is a way to do a force shutdown using the button combinations, pressing the 3 buttons all at once, which is great because, eventually everything's going to be buttonless and you're not going to have these options anymore. It's not going to be where you can press and hold. I mean, I really hope that actually never happens, but it sure seems to be the way that it is. So, I don't know. I really, really hope that that is not the case, that we never get to a point where we can't have, where we don't have an option to be able to shut down a device using buttons. But I mean, that does appear to be where we're going. So that was actually kind of a uh-oh type of moment, because I didn't know if I was going to get it to be able to work. This has largely been, and it may have been something on my end that I didn't realize I was doing. That's very, very possible. In other words, maybe because I plug it in to the actual laptop, and maybe at that point I didn't do something correctly. So it's one of those things where I went, uh-oh, but fortunately it worked out okay. Oh, interesting. All right. Huh. Okay. Well, that's a good sign. YouTube allowed me to pick the name for the YouTube channel, so it's now YouTube. So I'll have to adjust that at some point too, because they're rolling out their handles thing. Anyway, sorry, this is a long-winded version. Well, I shouldn't. For me, it's not very long-winded at all. This is kind of standard par for the course stuff. So anyway, yeah, I didn't know if the stream was going to work up until 2 seconds ago. All right, let's see. Oh, somebody who's able to actually watch the stream. Let's see. Oh, that thing is getting in my way, so I can't. There we go. Photo walkthrough. I'm assuming that's you, John, joining. Hello, if it is. I'm just guessing that based on what you sent me in Discord and the fact that I saw somebody new following. So this is making a huge leap, an assumption, but that's my assumption is that's you. I'm just going to post this on Twitter, and then we'll get going here. So yeah, this was about a tense 3 minutes, but very fortunately I found somebody on Reddit right away who said, no, you can do a hard reset, because of course Rode's support hours ended, no exaggeration, I looked up, they were till 4 p.m. Pacific, and it was 4:03, and I went, great. Of course it was something would happen where, an easy answer, which fortunately I was able to find on the web, but that would have been just something that not have any support for it. So like I said, I could have switched over to my dedicated mic, that would have worked, but it just would have been, another 10 minutes. Anyway, let's see. Let's jump over to the other side here. I'll play my little starting soon thing, even though it's really, that's going to go away. So that's going to get replaced. I'm going to work on something. Oh, I did the mushrooms last time. I'm going to do something different though. I originally had did it already play? Oh, whatever. Fine. Okay. So this is an image that I'm doing as kind of a joke image, but not really, because I'm going to put all the work into it. But there's a group that I follow that I've talked about, I think, before, called Digital Foundry, who do tech analysis of video games. And one of the members of the group that does the tech analysis, let me turn my keyboard off so I don't start accidentally pressing buttons, and take a sip of water. So give me 2 seconds here. Okay, there we go. Oh, the only thing that could interrupt the stream is, hey John, nice to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by. And let me know if the audio's off. It should be balanced correctly, but just in case, I just want to make sure all my levels and everything are right. So this image is Alex Battaglia is one of the people who does like as far as I understand it, and I don't necessarily understand how he does it, but does the deep level technical analysis. Excellent. Audio's good. So I don't have to touch nothing. Fantastic. So he does the things where he's really getting into how the technology is actually used. You know, how is ray tracing being enabled? How are they utilizing it, deploying it? What the difference is in certain graphics cards, all that kind of stuff. So he's an expert on that. One of the things that he is very good at picking up, because each of the members of this group seem to have something that they can pick up on that is either bad or that annoys them or whatever. So John Linneman, who I've had on my show before, his thing is he will be able to detect frame rate drops. If it's not a locked 30 or 60 frames, or if it's a variance of any kind, he'll pick that up right away. And in Alex's case, it's stuttering, which I don't really know exactly what the technical breakdown of that is, but I think it's like repeated or stuttering frames. So sometimes that can be very obvious, but sometimes these people can see stuff that I never see. Some of the times they'll have the graph running and they'll say, oh, look, right there, you can see the frame drop. I can't see it. It's kind of like with ray tracing and some of the detail stuff where it's like, I can't see it. I can't see it. So anyway, I thought it'd be funny to have do an image that's going to be titled Thou Shalt Not Stutter, and kind of do like because I do the stained glass thing for the 3 Magic cards, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I haven't done another stained glass thing since then. So I thought it'd be funny to kind of do an image of Alex in that way where, you know, it's, and actually let me group all this stuff up. Let me turn all these on so that I can do the grouping, and then I can turn the selected things off. So let me group this up. There we go. That's the group. I'll turn that. I don't need that layer anymore. That's just a double of his head anyway. And this way, what I can do is, since I can't really affect the opacity at a top level, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something very simple. Basically a trick that's essentially like an opacity dial. I don't think there's an opacity dial for the whole group. I'm not aware of it. See, in Photoshop, you can grab the whole group and you can do a opacity drop, but you can't do that for this. So instead, I'm just going to do a fill layer of white and just drop it like that. And essentially, that's an opacity layer. So I've dropped the opacity by, you know, the 20-something%, even though I really haven't dropped anything. So just like my other stained glass stuff, let me make sure I'm using true black. There's true black, because I've been, for some reason, this false black is in my palette, and I just have to fix that, and I keep forgetting to do it. So in my other stained glass ones, I essentially used 3 pen sizes, and those pen sizes were to correspond, or widths or weights or whatever you want to call it. They were to correspond with the, if you look at stained glass, there are borders that are different. And usually that's with the big pieces, and then there's kind of the interspersed pieces in between. So I use the biggest weight for the main edges of the glass, and then I vary the weights down at least just 2 steps from there. So let's take a look. We're at, for this pen, we're at, what's 10 look like? Oh, 10 is way too thick. Which pen? Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong pen. Let's look at this one. Yeah, okay. So we'll probably go with 10, or maybe 853. Let me look at 10. Let's see what the weights look like, because I don't want to have them be too wildly different. 8. Let's try 5, and then maybe 3. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is, I just realized, actually you probably can't hear it, so it's fine. I can hear the music subtly in the background, but that's okay. I think I'll go with 8, 5, and 3, which I'm pretty sure is what I did with the Magic cards. So we'll go with an 8, 5, 3 on this, because I think that's a nice variance in weight, because that's 3 down to 5 and 2 down to 3. Yeah, that's enough. You'll be able to see it. But 10 might be a little too much. All right, so the primary outline layer. Now, this is going to be the tricky bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and, I mean, I can always fix this, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume, because this is pretty, I'm just going to figure out, you know what, actually, hold on. There is one thing I got to figure out. I got my weights in my mind, so that's okay. Let's switch back to the pencil. Let's drop that off. Let's do another layer here, because the one thing I didn't figure out is kind of what the bottom of this is going to look like. So let's, because this is basically a robe, because I'm going on kind of the classic religious sort of imagery. Alex is actually a pretty thin guy, so this part probably needs to come in. So we'll give this some, that's too much. Let's do kind of broad, broad wrinkles here. Just basically getting the cloth in there. Okay. And then what we can do is go here. Is that this? Yes. Let me expand that mask a little bit with the paint. So we'll just, oh, I didn't go to paint, did I? Oh, I did. Am I in the wrong? Oh, that's the right one. Why is the, oh, I did a second line, didn't I? Hold on. Somewhere I put a second line in here. No, why is that? That's strange. Why is the mask not, why is the mask not taking that off? It's kind of weird. The mask should be, oh, wait a minute. Wait. I'm an idiot, I think. Hold on. Black. No, not the hidden layer. This is, oh. This layer was turned off. There we go. Helps to actually know what you're doing. I had the white on instead of black. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, where is this layer? Yeah, this is, you know what? That's okay there. Let's take that out. And this is all just kind of, oh no, that's the actual, that's the ribbons or whatever. I don't actually know what the word is, so I'm not trying to be sacrilegious. I just don't know what the word is for this cloth piece that comes over. Okay, got it. So that's slimmed them out. Now we do need to have a bottom to this thing of some kind. We can, oh, the halo can stay on. I don't mind the halo. So down here, let's go ahead and, nope, I'll switch back to my sketch. Here we go. We're on the right layer, yep. So what we'll do is this will be the bottom of the robes, because I'm not going to do a full body thing. In Photoshop, it's always a quiz mag. Well, you know, I'll be honest with you, John. I don't really use masks. I've only started using masks and maybe seriously with Procreate in the last maybe month. I know I'm always supposed to use them, but I've always done destructive editing. I know it's the terrible practice. You're not supposed to do it. I know that. I absolutely understand that is seen as, oh, why are you doing it that way? It's just the way I've always done it. But I'm trying to start using masks because I understand why destructive editing is bad when you have masks available. I get it. It's just not the way I usually work, because I'm actually about to do destructive editing right now because it's just the way I know how to do things. So I'm going to get rid of this thing here instead of, you know, and I'll just reform it underneath, but it's just how I'm used to working. But I know that's really a bad way to do it, that destructive editing obviously, well, yeah, and I understand there is a difference there, but it is also beneficial for some of the stuff. I should start doing it more on at least some layers where I might decide later to come back and do something, you know, just because it is smarter. It is a better way to do it. Yeah, no, I understand. For photo editing, it's a tremendous difference, especially if you're sitting there doing really detailed edits and then you realize that you made a mistake or you have to change something. Yeah, that's no fun. So let's go ahead and let's jump to here. Let's go back to paint. Let's mask this off because I can basically, actually not yet. Don't mask it yet. Leave it as is. And let's draw over it on, what is it, layer 7? No, 31. That's the other thing. Layer names get out of control. Okay, so I did this very quickly. So we want to, nope, sketching. There we are. So we want to just do a little bit of this. And we will drop that down and then come up. And there we go. Just because I didn't really add any movement to this particular piece of clothing, I just kind of drew it in fast. So, and I know that's not right. Hold on, because that's not how it drapes. So it would actually have to come off of probably right there. That's better. So that's coming down. Let's put a little bit of this here to give that a little bit more motion. Yeah. Okay. And then for the actual robes themselves, what I'll do is let's just have them kind of sweep like this. Because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically torsoize them, which isn't a word, but I'm using it anyway. Where basically, you know, this is... I'm not going to draw legs or anything. I'm just going to kind of have the image contained, I'll give a rough idea, in some kind of window shape like this. Like that. So I'm not going to draw the rest of his body. I'm just going to leave it like that. And, okay. So now, let me take a look at this. Where is that image? Is that this? Oh, good. It's the same thing. Okay. A little bit more of the old destructive editing here because this is a sketch too, so it's not like I couldn't redraw this. And I did, of course, copy this out somewhere in case I need it, so I have another pure original version of it if I need it. Oh, I erased the wrong thing. That's the nice part about the undo gesture, which I don't generally use a lot of gesture stuff, but that is nice. The old double tap thing on this is very helpful. Okay, so that's kind of where it's going to sweep in there. And then I got to look at a picture of, so I'm doing this in the background, of, because Alex really likes a video game character called Turok. And so I want to make the, whatever these things are called. So I'm going to make the sashes. I'm just looking up, there's a picture of Turok I can use that'll be easy for this. There it is. Yeah, okay. So Turok has this kind of, I really don't know how to describe it. He has something he wears. I'm not going to do the headband. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. So he has this kind of thing he's wearing that is, I don't know. I don't know what those things are. They're little white things. They're little white, well, whatever. I'm going to doodle them so you'll see them in a second. But essentially that's going to become part of the sash idea here. Or should I put it in the center? Oh, that's an interesting question. How do I want to... I have to think about this. As I think about this, let me fix that other line, which is right there. Let's fix that real quick. Let's take that out, and then I don't know where that other one came from. Is that here or here? It's partially this one. Interesting. I really kind of put myself into a weird position with that. Okay, that's enough. That's all I really need is just to know where it is. Okay. So as far as this other thing, let me think about how I want to handle this. This is interesting. How would I handle this? Because I can either make it where... Ah, boy. That's a tough call. I can either make it where it's underneath those sashes, or I can put it as the sashes themselves. So basically what the thing looks like is it's a series of, I don't know, I'll draw them, I guess, kind of things that almost look like, they're not bones, but these white kind of horizontal ornamental pieces with these little cappers on them, right? And these are then connected through, there's a series of what looks like 3 of them. So it would be like this and like this going across, more or less. And then there's string or something that is tying them like that. So I can either put them underneath the sashes, and when sashes I mean this thing here, this particular piece of clothing. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that, because I want to incorporate them, but I don't necessarily want to... I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. You know what? It really doesn't matter. I can just make the sashes... Oh, hold on, let me turn my keyboard off. I just clicked it with the keys. I can make... Oh, boy. Now, of course I'm going to get hung up on this for 20 minutes. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with this thing. You know what? We're going to just make it the sashes. We're just going to go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make them... All right, let me see what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate them as the part of the sashes. So we'll just draw these like this. And we'll put some spacing in there too. I'm not going to have them all exactly spaced right because they're not on the original. There's spaces in them. Some are tight, some are not. So we'll just go ahead and put that in there. And then the strings can run over like this. So that will... Okay. No, I'm all right with that. That makes sense. I can do that. And then the one over here, we have to do a little bit of just planning on this, just because these are a little bit angled. And those can, no, that basically, and that can function as the string. So actually those lines are good. Those lines are okay. Okay. No, that's good. There's this is fine. And coming down, so the only thing we'll have to really factor in is down here, because I have to do these outline glass pieces, or glass soldering lines, I guess would be the technically correct thing for it. So I'm going to put these pieces like this, and that still works with my idea of having the sashes terminate, but this way I've got, you know, the lines there, because I'll have to go over those. Okay. And then they're going to have these little cappers on them, but that's easy. That's all stuff I can do inside of those shapes. So for this, and I don't think the size really matters, but as far as why some are a lot longer than others, I don't think it's going to matter. Well, I'm just going to tell you it's not going to matter because I'm not doing it. Okay, and I'll make these much more even when I do them. I've got a funny angle happening, so these are not the way they're going to look. They will have straight edges. I'll have that one coming off there, and we'll do one more hanging off there like that. Okay, but not like that. I want to make sure the edge is represented. And okay, there. Yeah. And then the string still runs through it. Okay. All right. No, this is workable. So where I'm going to need to intersect is going to be here. No, don't do that much of an angle. Let's do. Going to be aiming for probably about a 40-minute stream or so, because I'm making baked ziti tonight, and it takes a little bit of prep the way I make it. So I'm going to be right after I finish the stream, I got to go get my prep set up, get my stuff going, get cooking, as it were, so that it will be ready on time, because it takes a little while. It's about baked ziti. Baked ziti, which is what you make when you don't feel like spending all the time to make lasagna. Essentially, baked ziti and lasagna are very similar, but lasagna takes a lot longer in terms of prepping the noodles. Yeah, ziti, exactly. Yep. And I don't feel like taking all the time to do lasagna today. So, okay, so I'm going to make my foundation lines are going to be around him specifically. So let's see. Let's turn off the halo, and then turn those off. So now we've just got him. We can jump up to this layer now. We can switch to true black. There's true black. And now we'll start doing the outlines. So now we'll restore our white layer. We might cut that down a little bit. Make that just a little bit more visible. So we'll go to 50%. There we are. Okay. And let's start doing this. Okay. We'll just start here. Okay, there we go. Am I in the right layer? I am. Okay, so we'll just start doing this. And as this is supposed to be, or it will intentionally be stained glass, we don't have to worry about the edges being really sharp, because they wouldn't be in stained glass. You would have the solder points, or whatever the metal is. I assume it's lead, but I really don't know what they use to solder stained glass. I honestly don't know. Whatever it is, it would not be sharp. The glass itself, of course, you broke it would be sharp, but not the solder lines. So I'm not too concerned with the fact that these are not sharp lines. That's okay. And I'm also, as you can tell, not overly worried about following my sketches too sharply. They're basically guides. But the important part is this is an outline, because this is supposed to be the outer boundaries of the main pieces, the thickest border. And then the interior lines will get smaller depending on, so for example, the eyebrow here will probably be 5, and like this eye will be a 5, and then this line here will be on a 3. And that way you will, even though it's not going to be tremendously different, you will pick up that there is a difference there, and it will emphasize the edges of the form. I'm speaking in extraordinarily pretentious art speak when I say these things. Okay, so we'll bring this down. And so, in other words, that's where I'm going to stop there because it's the outer edge. So the inner edges will get smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this. And that, because the string is there. Even though you can't really see it, you will eventually. Put that part there. And that joins up here. Okay. And this is how I typically do things. I jump around, so we'll jump to that and that. I'm not going to worry too much about segmenting these pieces specifically. Instead, I'll just stop and start where the segments are. And sort of my natural drawing motion a lot of times will create sort of a little bit of a segment. We don't do it in a solid line. You can see right there is a little dent. But I'm not going to worry too much about specifically trying to make the indentations. They'll just happen. Okay. All right, let's see. So we go here and there and dip in and we'll come out. And we'll zip this down like that. And we'll drop that a little bit more severely than it is in the original sketch because I do want it to feel like, you know, the wrist is going into clothing. I just made a motion with my hands as if you could see it, which you can't see it. I do that all the time. That is an Italian byproduct. Can't do nothing about it. I talk with my hands even when somebody can't see them. So, just the way it goes. Okay. Let's do this and have this come up. And so, like I said, what this is doing is it's forming the outside of the glass. So if I were to drop down, so like when there's the inner line, that will be, see how it'll be the thinner? And that's just, I mean, it won't be like that. I'll probably do a little bit more of a circular thing like this, maybe something like that. But that's what'll form the inner seams that'll differentiate the different glass pieces. So that was probably very clear when I explained it the first time. I was just doing a bit of a visual aid in case anybody is not clear on what I was saying. Which I wouldn't blame you if you weren't, because I'm not exactly great at explaining things. Okay, so now again we're outer boundary. So we will bring this. Now this I don't mind doing in longer strokes because it's okay. So this is now meeting. All right, now this is tricky because I have to somewhat. So let's jump back to here. I have to somewhat know where these inner pieces are, which would be what, layer 32? Yeah. So that I can line this up appropriately. So we're just going to go ahead and make some of these. Make sure I keep them relatively straight, or at least, you know, in a way where I can... Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's fine. That's where the intersection is going to happen. Because I just decided it. So that's what's going to happen. Was that true black? It is true black. Let's jump to our ink layer. And we're going to make this a secondary layer just in case this has to get fixed later. In case I realize I did something really stupid. So we're going to do this. This. And this is what I mean about, see, this is automatically going to change some things. Because now I'm kind of, oh, that's a space. So if it's a space, we got to come in. No, not crooked though. We got to come in straight, which luckily you can make a straight line very easy. Come back out straight to the edge, and then bring this out. Sorry, that was my phone in the background. Jump that in. Jump that out to about there. So all this is kind of, and this is another reason I'm doing this on its own layer, is because in case I screw this up, it won't mess up the core part of the image, the other outline, because that part's fine. I know that part's going to be what I want it to be. Okay, let's bring that out. Bring that in. Okay, I'm just paying attention to make sure I'm still doing outlines here. Just to make sure. And that's got to line up. So that. Yeah, we're good. Should be okay. It doesn't have to be perfect either. I'm not gonna go crazy, but okay. I'm just looking at the lineup of that to make sure it's correct. Which, yeah, I think we're okay. I think we're good. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. So, all right, here we go. Gonna keep this going. So we'll do this, and this will come around, and now again, we're intersecting into these things. Whatever these are, I'm sure there's a name for what these are. I just don't know what it is. And now I gotta do a little bit of. Oh no, don't do that. Oh, interesting. Well, I can't have it that way because they're gonna have to intersect. Otherwise, well, wait a minute. If it's gonna intersect, if there's a string though, it doesn't have to intersect, so that's okay, because this is the string, right? Comes around, string. No, we're good. We're good. I thought maybe I'd messed myself up. I did not, because the string. String saved the day. Thank you, string. Because there's this string that joins these pieces together. Therefore, that will form the outer boundary. Ugh, that's not very straight. Let's do this. Let's make... Oh, no. This is not stuff anybody but me would even notice, but still, it's there. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's do... This is going to come down. This is going to come down. Okay. And then we'll do this and this. And I have to try to make sure that I keep this somewhat consistent. Doesn't have to be perfect or anything, but I don't want it to look wildly off, like there's some kind of big discrepancy in the way the sizing works. There's going to be some, because you have, of course, distortion from something being in a different direction, but I don't want to make it where it looks unnatural. All right, that's not bad. I think I can work with that. Okay, so we got our... So now let's warp back to our other line. And let's start doing this side of it. Just do this. And again, we're just forming the boundary lines. Oh, I don't like that one. Let's do that. There's a nice sweep. Try to get that right. Ooh, not bad. Usually I don't join lines together that smoothly the first time. Usually it takes a few tries. So I got that one all right. Not bad. We'll just say not bad. Okay, now this has to be... Oops, there we go. That I'm having the strings coming down, so this is actually going to be a string bump. Whoops, not that much of one though. String bump, a little bit of clothing, string bump down to clothing. I know these words I'm saying probably don't really make any sense. String bump, I mean, what does that even mean? But I'm just trying to vocally articulate what I'm going for. Now this is going to be a little tricky, but I think I'll be all right. And then we'll join it up right here just to make sure it's smooth. Yeah, okay. Okay. Not bad. Usually this does not go this well. Usually I've made a lot more mistakes by now, so I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll actually be, good at this stuff. Okay, so there's the outline. That's the basic outline. That's just the stained glass outline of, the basic shape. So if I turn this layer off, that's basically the outer edges of the glass pieces. So now everything else that's interior is going to be a smaller pen one way or another. Generally, I think what I'll do is probably the big pieces at the 5, and then, which will be the hands, so it'll be like inner borders of the bigger border, if that makes sense. I'll show you what I mean. So let's jump down to a 5, and I've got a new layer now. So let's do the hand. So the hand will just sweep down like this, sweep back up, and as you can see, that's a slightly smaller line. Not massively, but enough. So now we'll do the fingers, and we'll try to make those look somewhat better than they were. Joint. Bring this down. Bring that through. I think that looks better. Sweep this up. This goes all the way up. Now this is where it gets interesting because I think I'll use the even smaller pen for the inner parts of that. So then, oh boy, how do I want to do this? Yeah, you know what? No, let's do that. So let's make another layer. We'll bring this down to 3. And then 3 will be the inner joints of the actual fingers. So you can see the difference in the gradations there. Finger looks a little weird, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. And I didn't do that for the other ones, the other portions. Should I have done that? No, you know what? I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing. This is not still life stuff. Doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll do some nice sweeps on those. Actually, what it should be is more like that. And then that. Should it? Yeah, I don't mind it. Looks good. Stylistic anyway. It's not supposed to look like real life. Clearly. And then we will do where this will sweep down. We'll bring that up and around. Okay. We will do this. Do a little bit of that. And then we will have a joint there. And then thinking about the shading for it. No, we're fine there. That's good. Okay, so now let's jump back. So we'll call this, just as a quick name, smallest. We'll call this medium. And now I know what they are. Are those fine lines joint? Yeah, you know, I was thinking that. You're right. There is one too many. That's why I'm screwing myself up. They sort of are. They kind of are joints. But you're right. There are too many on the thumb. That's why I'm screwing myself up here. I'm sitting here going, why does this not feel right? Because I should just look at my thumb. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm still on 3. So what we'll do is something like that. Yeah. Better. I knew there was something that was throwing me off about the thumb because I should have just looked at mine to begin with. Yeah, well, I like that. That's all right. And then on the hands, because hold on, let me do that. Oh, there's one more line. There would be one more line right around here. And I don't need it to be specifically. Yeah, it looks better. You're right. Thank you, because I didn't even see. That's why I say a lot. Sometimes you have to stop looking at your image for a while and then come back to it because you get dialed into it too much. I'm just looking at my hand. You know, okay, that's why I put that little line there. So let's add one more that kind of joins there. Okay, well, not that bit, but do that again and just try to aim for the center. Yeah, okay. And then underneath the fingers. No, I'm not going to bother with that. Yeah, I've said that a lot of times. It's not good to look at something for too long. You just become too dialed in, and you really can't see it anymore. I mean, you just lose the ability to see it as an image. That's the other reason I don't like to stream for too long, because I did a practice drawing at one point that was about 2 hours, and then when I went back and looked at it, there was a million things wrong with it, and it's because I can't look at it for that long. So, yeah, it's not good. You gotta step away or look at something else for a while. So that's why I don't. Generally, the longest stream I'm ever going to do is probably going to be an hour, and that's it. And I think that's, for me anyway, that's a healthy amount of time. So what we're going to do here is let's do, speaking of ending it, we're going to just do the hair, and whoops, and then I think that'll bring this stream to a close for today anyway. Ooh, no. I could see that one going wrong right as I was doing it. That was never going to stay that way. Okay, so we'll do the finer, because that inner hair I'm going to make finer on both sides. But he's got this very short kind of section of hair, and I don't know how else I'm going to be able to express that. Try to... That's really, I know you're not supposed to look at a computer screen for, they say every 20 minutes or so is good for your eyes. I'm sure that's true, because I know my eyes start to get squirrely after not too long. So that's probably a very smart thing to be doing. Oh, you know, we can do the definition on the chin too. Do this, that around, and then we'll slope that up, because I don't think his ear, I don't think he has like a I do too, and I know it's not good for me. I don't like looking at screens as much. I really try to be more on top of that because I know it's not good for my eyes. Okay. Speaking of which, this is a good place to end because I didn't make any major screw ups, which is rare. So now we'll drop the inner layer off. So basically, it's following along. But I think this is going to turn out all right. I think it's going to turn out the way that I want it to be. So yeah, that's the kind of overall goal. There's going to be more to it, but right now I'm really just focusing on the inner stuff, and then based on what those shapes look like, that will inform what the glass around it is going to look like. So anyway, yeah, you know what? This is not bad. I usually make way more errors. So that's another reason why I'm like, stop now. Stop. Because you're not making that many mistakes. So I don't want to screw anything up. But that's okay because it leaves more stuff to do in the other ones. But it's also, like I said, it's a good time to take a break. So, well, thanks for coming by, John. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping these aren't terrifically boring or anything like that. So hopefully it's been fun, and that's good timing because my wife is actually calling me on the phone, so I'm going to call her right back. So I'm going to end my stream right now and say thanks for stopping by and watching me doodle for a little bit. And whatever there is left of your... Sorry, that is terrifically loud in the background. Whatever's left of your Wednesday, enjoy the rest of it. Thank you. I appreciate that. So go out there, create something, whether you're drawing, making music, photo editing, whatever it is. Go create something when it's safe for your eyes to do so. And we'll see you on the next stream. Take care.